When I first came to teaching public classes, I was the fattest person or the biggest person in class, and I was the darkest person in class. And often in places that I go, I'm the only Black teacher.
And the first time I stepped into a public yoga space, I was kind of shamed. I went up to the front desk and they gave me the once-over looking at my body and said, "Do you know this is going to be hard?" And it was that experience that led me to create Yoga for All, where we walk into a yoga space and we're not shamed for our bodies or judged by our bodies. And when you're having a difficult time doing a pose, they're not saying, "You're not getting it." And I wanted people to see a yoga teacher who looked like me in a bigger body, who was a person of color teaching yoga, because a lot of people were missing out on a healing practice because they didn't see themselves doing it.
My path to yoga was through my mom. She was a new immigrant to Canada with 3 young children under the age of 4, and she needed a way to de-stress and recenter, and she had bought this book called Stay Young or Be Young with Yoga. And when my brother and sister went down for their nap, her and I would do poses from the book, and we practiced together for a really long time. And then when I came back to yoga, I was newly married and very stressed out. I had a very stressful job as an accountant. And I remember my husband saying to me, "If you want to stay married, I think you should probably go to yoga class." And I've been doing yoga ever since. I have a fitness background, so I was a fitness instructor. It married really well with my yoga practice. So I've always had like an active, body-centered movement kind of practice, and it always informed my yoga. I like to hang out with my family. I have 2 teenage boys who are the best, sweetest, kindest boys, and I just like hanging out with them and doing the things they like to do, which is going to basketball games and watching my son play soccer and doing all those things. When I'm not teaching, I practice an awful lot of yoga and an awful lot of self-care because I want to be here for a long time. My favorite practice to teach, I really like the rhythm and flow and ebb of a vinyasa class. I think it mimics the flow of my life, and I like the idea that I can slow down the flow of my life through slowing down the flow of my practice. I also really want everybody to feel like they belong, so I teach in a very adaptable and hopefully accessible way, but still incorporating challenges in the practice, still teaching vinyasa kind of with a twist for people who want to keep it accessible. And that's my goal, is to make sure that everybody feels like, yes, I can also do this practice, and yes, I also belong in this space.
And what I've come to figure out for myself and for my students is the real yoga that we do, the spiritual practice that connects us to ourselves, connects us to the universe, and connects us to each other, is the practice. And this is what we take off of our mat, and we go out into the world and we share that, and we make the world a better place because our consciousness is lifted and our connection to each other is strong.
I hope to change the narrative around who gets to do yoga. I hope it changes the narrative around body image. And I hope that's what I bring to the practice, that everybody is welcome and that poses can be adapted and that I can start to shift and shape the consciousness of the world to a place where we actually see each other, that when we say namaste, the light in me sees the light in you, that we're actually seeing the light in each other, and that light helps us seek justice and equity for each other so that we can really be in connection and unity.
And then we take our connectedness to ourselves and each other and we go out into the world and we make a change.
I know that's my purpose for this practice, because that's what I want more than anything in this world, that we all feel equal and that we all feel seen. I'm gonna get verklempt here, and we all feel like we belong, because sometimes that doesn't happen in yoga spaces, and it for sure doesn't happen in the real world. And that, I hope, is going to be the legacy or the impact of my practice, far beyond any fancy poses I do on the mat, but shaping and shifting consciousness moving forward so that my children and everybody else's children gets to live in a world that sees them, respects them, and loves them.